Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including four-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfalla.
And Ray Alfalla is a four-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
Three-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a three-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare two laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Hello and welcome to week 4 of the Radical Racing Challenge live on Apex Racing TV. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick. I am joined alongside by Johan Karanis. Mark Tranter is operating the cameras tonight, and it truly is night here in Europe and also in Sim at Sebring, because you can see it is very dark. The lights are necessary, and the lights on these Radical SR8 machines as well are going to be very important for these drivers to utilize. Exciting stuff. Johan, we don't usually get a night race in this series. In fact, honestly, I can't remember really any from the past few seasons that we've covered in this official series championship, and should be something a little bit different for us to look at for tonight's race.
I definitely agree, Sam. It's a bit cooler with the fact that the sun is not baking down that harshly on the track, and of course it's going to be very tricky for drivers to spot those apexes and those braking markers. If you're one of the unfortunate souls that have been using shadows for braking markers, you're going to be in a great amount of trouble. But I don't think the guys of the caliber of races that we currently have tonight are going to be making those mistakes. But all in all, it requires a bit more practice. You need to make the track kind of part of your natural instinct, and I think that is going to bring some different drivers to the front tonight, especially given that it's a rather bumpy circuit, so it's going to be tricky for close racing like we've seen before.
Yes, Yes, yeah, I think that's a good shout. Currently, the drivers in an 8-minute qualifying session, as always, they get 2 laps that they can set the second lap always faster, because that's how long it takes the tyres to get up to temperature. You really need a handful of laps to get fast, and so second lap usually has a bit more pace available. In the championship, this is only week 4, so only a quarter of the way through the season so far, so don't take too much notice of the points at the moment. But just as a heads up, Josh Cam at the front with 70 points. He's been able to take 2 wins and a 3rd place so far this season. Fortunately, he's not around tonight, is Josh, so he's not going to be able to make it 3 in a row, which would be a particularly impressive achievement. He has got 2 in a row in the past on a couple of occasions. Greg Seitz is around tonight, has a chance to take the lead in the championship as he takes the lead in qualifying. He's 17 points back. Mitchell Green in 3rd position. He's not around tonight. Eric Hanoi is around tonight, and he's currently in 6th place. So it's a little bit of a rundown of the top of the drivers, Seitz and Hanoi, the 2 highest drivers in the championship, heading into this round. But yeah, still plenty of changes available. The fact that Cam isn't around tonight, does that really open the doors for Seitz, you think, Johan? Do you think he's the big favourite tonight?
Yeah, I mean, in the past they were neck and neck, so I definitely think that has released him a little bit. We are seeing some new names that I'm not familiar with, so I'd like to see a bit of a mix-up between all the drivers. Of course, Seitz proving himself a rather consistent driver, so let's see where everyone plays. He is having a bit of trouble with qualifying, so it might also be that Sebring is maybe not his favourite place in the world. I can't exactly remember what he said last week in the interview in regards to that. But I suspect it's not going to be a clear-cut Seitz at the front. I think there is going to be a fair amount of competition there right at the top.
Yeah, and there was a bit of a divide after the first lap times. The second lap times have been ever so close. Callahan currently at the top, Beauchamp narrowly just behind. Reinhardt with a really good qualifying. I mean, Michael Reinhardt, quality driver, but usually just a little bit away from the absolute top guys, usually in 5th or 6th, but he's up there on the second row of the grid at the moment. Lee ahead of Seitz, but Seitz has got this second lap time to go. He was the fastest in the first lap times. Let's see if he can take pole position right at the end. Quarter of a second he needs to improve by, and it's not quite enough. He's 100th of a second short. That is remarkably small. Alex Callahan, he's likely to get pole position unless Rodriguez or Streitenberger can maybe plug a bit of a surprise. Those guys plus Michael Bell, who are currently watching, the only driver still to complete lap times. Bell crosses the line, and he remains right at the bottom. So next up it's Streitenberger, who is 5th place in the championship. How high can he get up?
Yeah, so he's really had consistent finishes all across the board, and that's kind of stuck him up a bit higher. He has been a bit unlucky with some of the race starts. He pops himself into 10th, and qualifying is going to end for us there.
And Rodriguez missed out on delivering that second lap time. It was going to be close. I thought he had enough time, I'll see. When we saw him start it, we were on board with him a couple of minutes ago. But turns out that was not quite enough. Who knows where he could have gone. He was very strong so far this season. So it's Callahan on pole position then, ahead of Seitz. Beauchamp in 3rd position and Michael Reinhardt in 4th. Those top 4 separated by 8/100ths of a second. There's Danny Lee, Andreas Friedrich, Ruben Rodriguez, Christian McCrelly, Chris Cash, Christian Streitenberger, Mike Busson, Eric Hanoi lines up in 12th. Then it's Dennis Kyrgiopoulos, Paul Taylor, Robert Woodward, Arturas Condelis, quite far down the order actually is Arturas, watch out for him. Mitchell Taylor is in 17th, then it's Christophe Magun, Gergely Barros, Michael Break, Michael Bell, Stephen Place, Adam Tulsma, and Sean Malloy starting right at the back. I don't think those bottom 3 even set a lap time, probably made mistakes. A really problematic turn 1 we often see here, Johan. I can only hope that the drivers get through it nice and cleanly, because once you dip a wheel onto the dirt on the outside through turn 1, then it's very easy to spin back onto the circuit.
Yeah, and if you find yourself spun onto the circuit like that, I mean, your or your duty is to kind of keep the car stationary, but it's going to lose you so many positions right off the bat. So even just from damage, or just not from damaging a car perspective, but also from a race perspective, it's going to be a very unfortunate situation that you do not want. It looks like we've got everyone on the grid. So Sam,
Here we go then. 5 lights are on. Callahan versus Sights on the front row. We are away racing. Looks like a good start for Callahan. Many of the jars swarming about. I think a couple of jars have got a poor start. Buson and Cash really chopping down the order quickly. But Callahan has the advantage heading into turn 1 at the moment. But it's Sights who's actually being able to get ahead. I think Sights is going to be able to move ahead. We have got a spinner in the background. McCready's off. Lee is also off the circuit. He started up in 4th position as Sights does make that move for the race lead straight away past Callahan. Beauchamp in a very close 3rd position. Great start for Rodriguez after that disappointing qualifying. He moves up to 4th from 7th on the grid. Great start as well for Taylor, Valkyria, Coppolis, and a huge amount of changes down the order. And the real problematic drivers there. McCready placed didn't take the start, and also Lee having that spin bit. He's still running as Reinhardt, after that fantastic qualifying, he is now dropping down the order down to 12th place. You can see him off in the background there at the hairpin, aiming to take the escape road.
so a very good start there for the 4 front runners. Unfortunately, Reinhardt there, you can see him just falling down the pack a little bit. But superb start for the front 4, and it's going to be a bit of a challenge. Unfortunately, I think that's Streitenberger into the wall there. He's off track. So not exactly sure what happened there, but that's a bit of a pity. I was going to say that Sights doesn't have his usual teammate behind him, so this time he's wide and open with Callaghan and Beauchamp behind him. We've got some Beauchamp supporters here with us in the YouTube channel. Massive shout out to you guys as well. And you can see Michael Bell having to fight for position, getting run wide a little bit, and now finding a tricky position to rejoin the track.
Yeah, I mean, that's it's going to be quite a bad slowdown as well on this first lap. Reinhardt was the one slipping and sliding around him as well. And yeah, so loads of change so far. Let's see what's going to happen. Heading into Sunset Bend, Bell does get ahead of Reinhardt eventually, but he's run too deep, and now he's going to get onto those treacherous bumps through Sunset Bend. They are dead level. It was also Kyrkopoulos who had a very good start, who was also dropping down around the same area as Streitenberger. So those two more problems for them. Gonzalez now up to 9th position, so good start for Arturas Candelas, up 7 places, qualified poorly down in 16th. He's just got past Robert Woodward and also got past Mike Buson. Buson had an awful start, but he's back to where he started because of all the other issues, as we kind of see some of the problems for Danny Lee, I think, hitting the wall at turn 1 and having to pull to the side of the circuit because that Radical SR8 is toast.
Yeah, it looks like the car almost had an aero set up for some kind of oval on it, with the wing just bent all the way to some side. There you can see him hitting the wall. That just looked very, very ugly.
Eventually, maybe a hit behind, but we're about to find out what happened to Reinhardt, because Reinhardt had a decent start, but then he's gone too deep into the hairpin, has he? Yeah, and, well, yeah, that's a tricky one for Michael, but you get a huge slowdown because of that, and yeah, that's why he dropped so far back.
So this seems to be what we saw with Streitenberger in the background. I can't confirm that I have the correct replay here. So we saw him heading off into the grass.
Yeah, he's about to leave it. So there was Kyrkopoulos losing it, and then Streitenberger, just the bumps, isn't it? And the cold tyres not yielding the traction that he needed, and yeah, just bits the wall, and well, that will cause him quite a bit of damage. He's a very delicate car.
Yeah, and it's tricky with such a short race. I mean, it's 13 laps. It goes by in the blink of an eye. So while with an endurance race, you can kind of sit back in the front and let everyone take themselves out, and then pick up the left pieces from there. In a race as short as this, you need to be aggressive from the start. You need to fight for it quite hard. And that's a skill in and of itself. You need to practice the car in all states of wear to really be good at these race starts, and not just at the middle of the race hot lapping types of setups.
yeah, that experience on the Conti is absolutely invaluable. As we see what's happened to Ruben Rodriguez. So he's had another issue here, and this was with Daniel Beauchamp actually, and that was how they spun around. So apologies that we missed that, because that was 3rd and 4th positions. And that means that Friedrich and Cash are now up to 3rd and 4th. So, and Rodriguez down into 15th, Beauchamp in 13th, Reinhardt in 12th. And those guys started in 7th, 3rd and 4th, respectively. So huge drops for all of them. It means that Eric Hanoi is up into 5th position. Hanoi always makes up some places off the race up, but he's got quite a queue of cars behind him and some very quick cars behind him as well.
Yeah, so if I remember correctly, Hanoi is usually the driver that leads that 2nd pack of cars in the race. Usually we've got a front pack of cars very tightly spaced together, and then you've got that 2nd pack, so he's normally led that. But it's been a bit different with the incidents happening all around the track, with some drivers dropping down. Delis here seeing an opportunity on the inside. Is he going to be able to drive through with the grip? Yes, he is, and that's going to put Taylor next to him down the straight. So we'll see where they come through.
He's now ahead is Contes, seemingly too much pace. Contes moves up to 6th position. Ooh, off the seat goes Reinhardt. And that was Beauchamp trying to move his way past, and that's going to definitely be game over shortly for Reinhardt. He seemed to hit the wall. Yeah, that looks really damaged, crabbing lots. And that is curtains for him. Let's see how this one happened. It's a very wide turn in, but not wide enough to facilitate these two cars. So I believe Beauchamp was coming in behind, and he was behind, heading into the braking zone at least. And yeah, attacking Reinhardt. They'll be disappointed with that.
That was a very, very fast bit of closing speed there. Oh, bit of netcode also helping it along. So that's very unfortunate there for Reinhardt. And of course the challenge being the car might look like it's just got a damaged ring, but that suspension is completely bent out of shape and makes the car very, very much completely unable to drive in a straight line.
Yeah, and with the meatballs as well, you can get one for getting barely any suspension down, so even if you are going to soldier along, you're going to be all into the pits pretty much immediately anyway.
Yeah, you've got to respect the meatball. Some weird weaving from sides there. I'm not exactly sure what he's been trying to do there.
Oh, Magun has gone off the circuit side in the background. Just saw that right at the back of shot, but he's been able to eventually get back going, but he's lost 2 places there to Biros and Beauchamp. Such a long train of cars, and Buson now past Taylor, and also Cash trying to get past Friedrich. It's all kicking off at the end of this lap 4 of the race. They move on to lap 5, and Cash is trying to make this one stick. Now he's caught up to Friedrich very quickly on that lap by a second, so maybe a mistake from the car number 7, but Chris Cash, who started down in 9th position, up to the podium places.
He'd be very, very happy with that. Now he just needs to keep it in good shape and keep it in front of Friedrich. Friedrich, of course, not going to let it go that easily. Now Beauchamp is fancying himself an opportunity here at Barros. Doesn't have the closing speed yet, but we'll see what he does in the braking zone. So just keeping in line for now. There's nothing really that you can do. He doesn't have the space to really look for an opportunity. So for now, he'll just have to sit back, look for a kink in his armor, and take it from there.
Yeah, but that's not a driver who we haven't seen too much. Great name, Gergely though. And number 21 just getting into this top split. So the lowest seeded driver. Out to check the lowest I-rated driver, but the strength of field for these races is usually about 4,000 I-rating or so, anyone who does get in done very well for themselves. Big thanks, by the way, to SDK Gaming, who are the providers of our events overlay. You see up on the screen all these different elements, displaying the timing, displaying different information, displaying the logos, all done by SDK Gaming. So of course, great for broadcasting, great for streaming, and great as a heads-up display as well. It has all the information you need whilst you're driving along. So do check out sdk-gaming.co.uk for more details. As we see Taylor drop down another place, and it's Woodward this time past, and I think Barros and Beauchamp will be soon on the back of him as well.
So the battle between Barros and Beauchamp kind of continuing all the way. You can see how close Beauchamp is there to the rear of Barros' car. Ooh, almost contact between the drivers. Beauchamp having to really kind of jump out of the way, and they're just following through. So it's given a slight gap for Woodward and Taylor, but their battle has also brought them together. Now on the inside, Beauchamp pulling alongside Barros and getting the pass executed ever so slightly, but Barros looking for another opportunity here. Not going to find it, just showing the nose for a little bit of pressure. And now it's up to Beauchamp to get the foot down and get the two of them moved forward so that they can come in contact with both Woodward and Taylor. Who've been battling out quite furiously here in front of them for 7th position. Sorry, I lost my track there. For 8th position.
Yeah, and just behind these guys, Mugun has had a problem. And I'm sure we'll get a replay of what's happened to the car number 24. Apologies, I was saying earlier on how I was going mad. Barros was the last iRacing driver. No, because he's only 21, there's 24 drivers in this. Yeah, Mugun is the last iRacing driver, and he was doing extremely well earlier on, but unfortunately hasn't quite gone his way. Had an off, which dropped him from 10th to 12th. Then kind of dropped away from the pack, and this is how he's dropped a lot more positions as well. Turning in, then irritating, then getting the slight tap and just doing everything he can to avoid the wall. Won't pick up too much damage, at least from that one. I think that was that was who tapped the back of him. But so we've got a spin around. That's Kyriakopoulos. He's having a nightmare of a day. Had an instant on the opening lap around the middle sector, and he's had another instant there, victim of Sunset Bank.
Yeah, that's unfortunately a bit of a rough one, and especially with these cars, once you lose confidence, once you get those spins, it's so easy to want to push the car even harder to make up the lost time, and you just end up making it worse. Paul Taylor here getting overtaken by Beauchamp, and now Beauchamp looking for finalizing that overtake on the inside. Slow down Taylor right into the front of Barros there, so Barros might also have a good opportunity from this if he plays his cards right. And now he's just sticking very close. It's absolutely just insane how close these cars will really get to one another. The draft of course being beneficial, not as beneficial on this track as it would be with Spa, but it does still play a role.
Yeah, this is one of the first kind of slipstream circuit that we, or non-slipstream circuit that was visited this season. We had Red Bull Ring initially, and then we've also had Road America and Spa, super high-speed circuits. Yeah, as you say, the slipstream will play a part around this place, but yeah, much smaller effect than those other tracks, and that's maybe a bit why Big Sight's been able to pull out a 1.1 second advantage, but I think we're going to see the slipstream used to its fullest down the back straight here, because Barros is climbing very quickly. Remember, Taylor was up in 6th position at one point in this race. He just cannot hold back the cars, and Barros up into 10th place now. At least Taylor should have some respite now, because he hasn't got too many drivers in a close proximity to him now. So Sight still leading the way in the second half of the race now. Callahan with him got a huge margin. Considering how close qualifying was, I'm surprised they've been able to build up such a big margin. Cash got past Friedrich earlier on, but Friedrich staying close to him since, and Eric Hanoy, really good pace for him. You get an overall podium here for Hanoy, because he is catching up to these drivers.
Yeah, catching up is going to be one thing, but overtaking is going to be a completely different story. These bumps make overtakes quite tricky. You might think that you've got control of the car, and then if you just hit a bump in the wrong way, that's unsettling of the car, does bring the limit down quite a bit. So you need to give yourself a bit of room when making these overtakes, which makes it a bit more tricky than a track where you can just draft behind your opponent and fly by on the main straight. So it has to be a bit more tactical for the drivers. But of course, catching up with the driver in front of you is going to be step number 1.
Yeah, and if Hanoi can catch up, I imagine it's going to be quite a annoyance to the driver's head. Annoyance.
I'll give you a few points for that one.
It's taken me 12 months to think of that. Mark Jansen in the background fan absolutely alert, couldn't contain his laughter. I'm sure all you viewers are enjoying that as well. So he is catching up, 3/4 of a second behind. Whereas when you dwell on a Jake, it does make it quite a bit worse. Reject's trying to stay close. The final corner, but he just cannot quite stay close, and it's such a frustrating corner that, and you try to take maybe a different line, but so risky exploring the different bumps around there, as we see. Brake, and Barros. And this is Brake trying to get past, and they're absolutely dead level, nothing in it on the timing whatsoever, but it's Brake with the better line there. Car number 19, we don't usually see too much of. He is up into 11th position, just needs to bend into turn 2, and he does that very efficiently. So he's up into 11th, and crucially gets a car between himself and the very quick Rodriguez.
Yeah, it's quite interesting to see newer names come into the mix and see where they place themselves. Rodriguez, unfortunately, not the best race for him here. 6 positions lost, so he's had, as you've seen before, a bit of a rough one. So trying to get himself back up to pace. He's got to damage Barros there in front of him. So looking for an opportunity, not finding it yet. He does want to kind of climb his way up back a bit higher again. Yeah, that's the tricky thing about these races. It's both competitive and so important that you make sure that you don't damage the car. Rodriguez still sat there on the rear of Barros. Barros' car not looking as factory new as it usually does. And clinging on for dear life for position number 12. Meanwhile, out in front, Sykes and Callaghan now have a very substantial margin on the field. And Cash is kind of running away with the first big group of cars that we see in the race. So we've got Frederick, Hanoi, Cadelis all within 1 second of one another, almost smaller than that. So massive battle for 3rd position. And then you can see Drake there off in the distance, Barros in front of you, Rodriguez, the driver we're currently on board with, and then 2 cars behind him, all in a train of their own, trying to find a position to battle for.
And it's surely it's going to be broken soon because Taylor's right on the tail. Deary me, it's sorts of a curse because Taylor is off the circuit. I'm not sure what situation he's in at the moment. No, he's in the wall. That's his situation. He is out of the race. Well, he was getting dangerously close to Paul Taylor, so thank goodness we don't have 2 Taylors next to one another on the timing tower. He could not deal with that one, but it is still a shame for the Australian who will not take any further parts in this race. He joins a list of retirees, McCreely, Lee, and also Reinhardt. Of course, Taylor added to that place. I don't think he started the race, but did enter after a couple of laps, so he's currently 2 laps down on the race leaders, as Friedrich is getting awfully close. He dropped back to about half a second. Now he's got back within 3/10. Needs to stay close here through the Le Mans curves. Just so tricky to get your turning point just right. You don't want to take too much of those curves. They are lethal. He does drop back by 10th, but he is closer than on the last lap, so if he can get a good run through Sunset, he could have an opportunity when they move on to lap 11.
Yeah, so he's kept himself nice and close. He hasn't shown his hand yet. He now knows where he is faster than Cash, and just needs the opportunity to really execute on it. That opportunity, of course, being in the next few laps. Lap 11, very, very close to the end of the race here. And there you can see the 54.103 from Frederick, just showing exactly why he's closing in there. Hanoi I don't know if I remember correctly, but it does feel like he has a habit of putting his car in 5th position during the majority of races. Might just be where his pace brings him, but it's always nice to see him up there battling it out. He was definitely hoping for something to happen with the two in front of him here, so he might also get an opportunity if there's a slip up from either Cash or Frederick in some kind of overtaking maneuver.
And of course, Hanoi is the seed number 3, so it may sound odd to new viewers while we're kind of bigging him up and saying this would be unusual if he got a podium. But usually Eric kind of gets that good iRacing just by consistency, you know, rarely qualifies in the top 10 on the grid. Grid space usually better, but he's usually just good at avoiding incidents, you know, and with his race car. But this is good pace to keep up with Cash and Friedrich and to keep Condelis behind him. So he is doing very well at the moment. Big thanks as well to Virtual Racing School, by the way. Virtual Racing School, another sponsor for this broadcast. They offer over 50 data packs, so that's data packs for 50 different cars on iRacing. And those data packs include setups, track guides, data analysis software, and also one-on-one coaching. So if you want to get better on iRacing, including better in the Radical SR8, go get yourself a subscription. You can get access to all those different setups. It's absolutely terrific stuff. And yeah, it's sure to improve your pace on the sim. So Friedrich getting closer to Cash, but Hanoi is getting closer to Friedrich, and I'd be very disappointed as we move on to the penultimate lap of the race if there were no overtakes between these guys, because this is as close as they've been for the entire race. This is still the closest battle going out on circuit. Still that break Barros-Rodriguez battle going on, but no sign of a change at the moment. See, it's close. Here is Friedrich on the brakes, but really the next half lap or so, not really a chance to overtake, and he has just dropped off a little bit. Going to have to work hard to gain back some of that time. Can use the toe to gain maybe half a tenth, 1/10. But he tries it in very deep there, does Friedrich. Just gets it stopped, and again does take a little bit of a gap out of the driver ahead. Just a lap and a half to go, and he is getting particularly close now. Maybe those tyres just aging a little bit better, and he's only a quarter of a second behind heading into the long section.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting right here at the end. I mean, it's a very, very difficult track to get that opportunity to overtake, but Cass has just done an absolute stellar job of keeping there in 3rd position. Friedrich not finding an answer to his pace quite yet, and as I say that, the two are closing down on one another a little bit. Friedrich just showing the nose, making Cash even more nervous. He knows that something is going to come from somewhere, and it has to happen on this lap. We've taken the white flag, so one lap of racing left for us. Sam, why don't you take us away?
Painful understeer for Friedrich going through Sunset Bend. Really wants to get on the power early to get that launch, but just running a bit too wide, and he is running out of opportunity. He's still got a couple more though. He's got the final corner, and then there's also this one, the hairpin, but this isn't really the part of the circuit where he gets particularly close. Trying to square off that corner to get a good launch. He's just a bit too far behind now. He could go for a dive here, and it would only be a last lap dive. Wouldn't think about it on any other lap. But we should realise this doesn't want to waste this, what would be a good result, and doesn't want to ruin this battle either. Now he's even closer, heading into a part of the circuit where it is tricky to overtake, but it is quite tricky to defend at the same time, because the outside line can work. Cash doing everything that he needs to do, not getting any opportunity, stopping it on the apex, and this is inviting Hanoi, and also Kundelis as well, who's got particularly close in this final lap, as Friedrich has totally missed the corner there, really misjudged the edge of the circuit, and I think he may have hit the wall there as well, so that is relief for Cash, and it promotes Hanoi. You can just see the recovering Friedrich now. He might stay ahead of Woodward. That is a huge shame for him, as here comes Kundelis trying to get past Hanoi. Can't quite get past. I think Hanoi's going to be too far behind Cash to really mount any attack in these closing stages, and Friedrich was able to get back onto circuit in 8th place. It's a shame for him. I haven't showed too much of this battle because it's been so evenly matched between the two of them, but just increasing it lap by lap ever so slightly. Greg Seitz is going to take his second race win of the season and the championship lead as well. Seitz wins here at Sebring, just ahead of Callahan. In the end, that race start was decisive. Cash is going to round out a podium, and that is really good work from him, ahead of Hanoi and Quintez. Buisson in 6th place, Beauchamp somehow recovering to 7th position despite having a couple of scares, and Friedrich finishes in 8th place, albeit he will be disappointed with that one. Break able to beat Barros and Rodriguez. Those guys following each other home are very close. We didn't really see a whole lot of them, to be honest there, but it was still a fantastic performance from Greg Seitz and Scott Callahan for that matter. The consistency between the two of them and just the pace they had over the entire rest of the field was really not something that at least I was expecting after such a tight spa round and after a tight qualifying, those two in a league of their own.
Yeah, I think they really got the track under. They got the mastery of the track right, and I think there might have been a lot of preparation going into this. But we saw quite a few drivers kind of getting caught out with the braking zones, with those bumps making them just brake a bit longer than they expected. And we've seen some friendly names come up a bit higher than we usually see them. We see there Hanoi in 4th. I think that's actually a season best for him. Of course, Hanoi coming 5th in the Spa round that we had last time.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly can't recall Hanoi getting higher than that in the previous 11 months that we've, or 10 months sorry, that we've been covering this this series. So that is a huge effort for him, considering that he's taken part in most of those races. Seitz though at the top, 1.6 seconds clear in the end. Now Callahan, Cash in 3rd. Then Hanoi, as we were saying, Kundal is recovering, but he's still out that qualifying onto us. It was inevitable he was going to get up there, but yeah, just that qualifying letting him down really. Mike Buisson was in 6th place, then it was Daniel Beauchamp, Andreas Friedrich, Robert Woodward, Paul Taylor, Michael Brake, Gergely Barros, Ruben Rodriguez, Adam Tolsma. Didn't see too much of Tolsma actually, but he did well there in 14th. Then it's Dennis Kyrikopoulos, Sean Malloy, Christoph Magun, Christian Streetenberger, Michael Bell. One lap down was Stephen Place. Now he didn't take the start, I think, Place, showing that we didn't actually see him on the grid. He could have had a chance to gain a few places actually, and he started on the grid. Then the retirees were Mitchell Taylor, Michael Reinhardt, Danny Lee, and Christian McCrelly. Final shout out, by the way, to Apex Racing Academy, who are our 3rd sponsor for this series. Apex Racing Academy with 29 data packs, including setups, track guides, weekly group coaching sessions. It's integrated with the Virtual Racing School as well, and the Apex Racing Academy setup sync technology is super useful for downloading any setups, any replay files that you need. And some of the coaches, you know, Peter Bayman particularly comes to mind, but also Antoine Higelin are doing incredibly well at the moment in the IR01 World Championship Series. I believe Peter's leading that championship at the moment, so really is testament to the quality of their setups, of their iRacing knowledge. And of course, if you want to get setups designed by those drivers for a variety of cars, 29 different cars, do visit apexracingac.com. Now, we usually get some interviews with drivers at this point, and well, tonight is no different. We're going to be able to have a chat with our race winner, Greg Seitz, who joins us now in the commentary box. Congratulations there, Greg. First up, the race start, because it seems as though that may have been the point where it was decided. It seemed like it was a very even launch between yourself and Scott, but you just were able to get ahead in those opening few corners. Take us through it from your perspective.
Yeah, I think I might have got off the line a little bit slower, but I got better traction. I saw he had a little bit of wheel spin, and he went to the inside to defend the inside line and left a little bit of a gap on the inside there. So I went out wide and tried to cut down under him, and there was just enough room to get that done. And then there was a nice little battle into the next turn. Yeah, he's really fast, and I knew I wanted to kind of get up there and kind of dictate the pace. So lucky kind of things worked out.
Definitely. It seemed like it never seemed like he caught you. It seemed like you literally were like half a tenth or a tenth of a second faster every single lap. I mean, you must be impressed by your own consistency there, because it looked like you gave absolutely nothing away.
Yeah, I focus a lot on consistency. I may not be the absolute fastest guy on track, but I try to run really consistent laps. And in some of the other races I did with Scott, I noticed he had a little bit of issue with consistency. So, again, that was another reason I wanted to be out in front and try to stretch a gap. And yeah, he hung on very tenaciously, though, so he did a great job.
Definitely. And how's it been racing at night around this circuit? I mean, is it any different after a while to driving in the daytime? Do you just get used to it, or do you still kind of realize that you are driving at night whilst you're out there?
Yeah, it definitely took me a while to get used to it. My first, practice laps and even the first races, are a little bit precarious because it's really hard to kind of judge things at night, especially where other cars are. I think that's probably the biggest difference. If you're out in front, and you can see your braking markers, it's not so different. But being behind somebody, it can get really tricky. And again, like I said, when somebody comes alongside you, it's almost guesswork as to where they're at sometimes.
We head back over the Atlantic for the next round of the championship. It is Imola. Now, how do you think these cars will suit that circuit? Because honestly, I mean, we've been broadcasting this series for a while now. I don't recall those cars visiting. I imagine they have maybe once or twice, but it's maybe not a particularly common car check combo. Have you tried it before in the past?
Not in this car. Again, in Indy Pro, tried it, and getting through the chicanes. Surprisingly, in Indy Pro, you can actually kind of drive over them. I'm hoping the same on this because this car's sprung a little bit softer. So I think hopefully it'll handle the chicanes, because that's key to that track is having a really good run through the chicanes there, especially the last one. So yeah, I'm kind of anxious to see what it looks like. But overall, I do like Imola, so I'm hoping I do well there.
Awesome. Well, we wish you the best of luck for that one. Greg, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, thanks for you guys for putting on the broadcast. A lot of fun. My team, Rest Racing, and my teammate Mitch, in particular, we do some practice together, and it always helps.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Greg, and see you back next week.
Thanks.
Greg cites there your race winner tonight. Started in second place, took the lead on lap 1. And there was no looking back after that. Johan, I think we've got an interview with Eric Hanoi now.
Yeah, so first of all, welcome, Eric, and also big congratulations on your strongest finish so far this season. You're probably very, very happy with how things went.
Yeah, I got P5 last week and I was ecstatic, and now it was P4 and I almost thought I could make the podium, but in Sunset Bend on the last lap I had to lift because I came too close to P3, so then I lost my chance. But it's such a great combo, Sebring and nighttime and Radical. It's very stressful, and I'm going to need to take a shower now because, the bumps and my DD wheel, and it's like a workout, a marathon actually.
I'll definitely remember that for shaking off the lockdown weight direct drive wheel with Sebring. But again, yeah, massive congrats dealing with the stress and all of the things that kind of go paired with this track. I mean, you said racing in the evening, it's very tricky, but also in regards to kind of finding your braking markers, finding your rhythm, did you find it being a challenge and requiring extra preparation?
Well, during the week, I've done a lot of races, and usually I'm in front on my own because the competition is not that hard during the day. And then I was used to, darkness. But now when I was in 4th and 5th and 6th place, it was suddenly all lights from the other cars. So my usual braking points wasn't there anymore. So I had to invent them again. So it was a bit hard, but after a few laps, I found a rhythm, and yeah, I think I did okay.
Yeah, this looking at the results, it definitely did work out for you. Moving on towards Imola next week, one of the tracks that you enjoy, or is it a bit more of a difficult one for you?
No, I think it's great if you find a good rhythm. It's a great track because the turns. If you do the racing line correct, it's just a joy. But of course, you got Aqua Minerale, and you got also the worst point on. And oh my God, the chicane! I will never learn it. I've tried it 10,000 times, but I don't know how to do it.
Yeah, that's always going to be a tricky one. I've not seen too many drivers that are too happy about that one. I know it also was a bit of a difficult one for me when I was racing it in F3s. Then from your side, any people that you want to give a shout out for that's been supporting you, that's been watching your races, etc.?
Well, you guys, of course, you're doing a very good job as commentators, and I also want to give a shout out to the community. It's a great community. People are helping each other. Yesterday, a guy had trouble with some frame drops, and several guys tried to fix it for him. And so it's a great community. Cheers for the Radical community.
Awesome stuff, and I'm definitely going to agree with you there. I know some people had a bit of a rough time with the busy time with IMSA, and someone actually asked for communities that are a bit more friendlier to newcomers, and the Radicals was one of the first mentioned. So that definitely does confirm what you're just saying. It is a really nice community out there. Thank you so much for your time, Eric, and I hope you have a nice celebration after this, and yeah.
See you.
Cheers.
Eric Hanoi then finishing in 4th position tonight, and I think that pretty much rounds out our interviews for this evening. But yeah, Johan, I mean, next time out Imola, I mean, I'm not a big fan of this circuit, honestly, but I love Imola. I think it's really good fun. I do understand Eric's comments about Variante Alta is a very tricky one. It's a bit of a nothing corner, can't really overtake, and isn't really any fun to drive through. But the rest of the circuit should have a really good flow to it. And honestly, yeah, I can't recall the official series visiting there in recent times, so it should be really interesting to see these cars tackle that track.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to watching it. I'm very thankful that I don't have to drive it, but that's just me not enjoying the track in VR. I remember going up the hill, I basically just had a full blast of sun in front of me and had to use the trees as the braking marker for the corner. But a few turns that might feel a little bit blind, so the racecraft is going to be a tricky one. If you spin out at an unfortunate place, you might find yourself in a similar situation to one of the drivers earlier tonight that got himself T-boned right on the side of the track. So it's going to be a tough one, but it is a bit of a departure from the heavy drafting that we had previously. So it's kind of coming down to more about how consistent you can be and how clean can you keep your race, how much can you keep your nose out of trouble.
Absolutely, yeah, it's certainly going to be more tricky to maybe be raceable around that circuit, but no, it should still be really interesting to see the drivers go through those technical sections on that track. Of course, that will be broadcast same time next week here on Apex Racing TV. And of course, there's plenty of other stuff being broadcasted on Apex Racing TV in the coming days. We've got the third round, apologies, of the Apex Racing Academy Formula Renault 2.0 Championship tomorrow night. That has been a joy to broadcast so far. Really good fun back at Nürburgring. And I think the next round of the championship should be very good. Limerock Park with both chicanes as well. I don't know what's going to happen with that one. Also got Formula Renault 3.5 as well, the official series, on tomorrow night as well. got Spec Racer Ford on Sunday, got IGP Fun as well on Sunday, I believe. On Monday we got the MX-5s back. On Tuesday it's the penultimate round, I believe, or even final round, I think it might be, of the GT3 Pro trophy, which will be a very tightly contested championship. So do certainly make sure to give this video a like and subscribe to Apex Racing 2 so you can check out all of our broadcasts in the future. Also make sure to check out our social media pages as well on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, where we're posting up highlights of our various races and keeping you up to date with any new series on Apex Racing TV as well. Big thanks to Virtual Racing School, to SDK Gaming and to Apex Racing Academy as well for sponsoring this series. And of course, if you want to take part in some league racing yourself, do visit apexracingleague.com as well to check out their various series. But for now, from myself, Sam Fitzpatrick, from Johan Kernes and from Mark Tranter, we are going to say goodbye and we will see you next time out at Imola. See you then.
Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.